All right. Hello, everyone, and now welcome to a game. This game is going to be KraV versus CrunCher, taking place here on Concealed Hill. KraV spawning as the green undead on the bottom left-hand side of the map, going up against CrunCher spawning as the red human. This is patch 1.35. Recent changes to the undead and undead have, well, should greatly change the human versus undead matchup, as the Archmage will be trained up here alongside a Crypt Lord. So KraV going for a Crypt Lord over the classic Death Knight in this matchup, looking to perhaps set up a fast expansion. Archmage already out here, going to go ahead and clear out this Ogre Warrior creep camp. Acolyte doing a little bit of scouting. CrunCher with this forward farm, able to, well, keep track if anyone tries to come down this particular way. Gonna go ahead and clear out that last Forest Troll Berserker and then the Forest Troll Trapper, as the Archmage now rotates off to the north to clear out this relatively easy green creep camp. Meanwhile, we're looking at KraV with a handful of beetles, no skeletal minions as of yet, and still holding on to that Scroll of Town portal, so no clear sign or indication whether or not a fast expansion is in order. Footmen, meanwhile, coming across here, trying to cause a little bit of disruption, trying to perhaps take down a ghoul or two, as this Footman escapes away at 357 hit points. Those ghouls will be backing off, but still buying precious time with one lone Footman dealing with this Crypt Lord here. Hello, Shikamadu, thank you for tuning in. Always great, as we see a quick Acolyte getting purged and taken down there. Militia now being called over, so CrunCher looking to set up a fast expansion, leading the charge with the Water Elemental, only for it to be purged down. That is not what he was hoping for, as you now see CrunCher's Water Elemental here absorbing a little bit more damage now. Meanwhile, KraV's Beetles are now leading the charge. Are we going to see, well, there's a big deny there on that Water Elemental, trying to finish off some of these units. Archmage is sitting at level 2, now trying to get some easy kills onto some of those, well, onto some of those beetles to gain a little bit more experience, and this might actually push the Archmage within range of level 3. Meanwhile, the Crypt Lord still sitting at level 1 right now, as the Crypt Lord is looking to deal a little bit of damage, and, well, ends up summoning up a pair of skeletal minions, as well as the Footmen, well, letting the Crypt Lord simply slip on by. Militia trying to fight away here. You can see low hit point units trying to retreat back. CrunCher trying to his best to keep these low hit point militia alive, but unable to do so. Now opening things up, leveling up to level 2 on that Crypt Lord. Not to be outdone, CrunCher quickly follows up with a level 3 as well, so that one level advantage is still going hard and fast, as we see another ghoul getting taken out. Skeletal Minion is going to get the final shot off on that militia, down to 11 hit points. It looks as though this Skeletal Minion will get taken down, as CrunCher, who did train up a fair number of additional workers, well, is not going to be setting up a fast expansion any longer. Ghouls coming in from the south here, both at, or all three of them, low on hit points, correctly decides to back away. They were going to be joining the party late, and, well, not going to be able to offer up very much either. As the units are retreating back, tech to tier 2 already well underway by KraV. KraV, you can see, already 3/4 of the way there. Meanwhile, CrunCher has not started his tech to tier 2, instead looking to set up that expansion still. That might have been KraV's intention all along, to try and delay that fast expansion attempt as long as possible. Skeletal minions getting easily cleaned up there, as the expansion will be, well, should be started. One scout tower and then an arcane, or a scout tower into an arcane tower, coupled with a town hall here. There's one beetle just staying nearby, not burrowed, well, but able to scout out and see what exactly CrunCher is looking to do. All right. Well, CrunCher looking to punish this Crypt Lord before this Crypt Lord can do all that much. Only a solo Crypt Lord, and maybe even with Impale, should not be able to deal that much damage. There goes another beetle getting taken down. There's an Impale across multiple targets, trying to finish things off, as one, well, as a couple of units are getting cleaned. Excuse me. Getting cleaned up by those beetles and those skeletal minions. Currently still sitting on 5 workers here, as this scout tower needs to get completed. Down to the south, we are looking at a Death Knight joining in on the battle. Tech to tier 2 already started. Slaughterhouse already started. We're seeing that slight change reduction in cost for heroes from 425 to 400, allowing for faster movement there as KraV walks into a 4-unit surround and now teleports off to the north to try and clean things up again. Another Ghoul could, oh no, Ghoul does get taken down, but denied experience once more, as this scout tower has still yet not been upgraded to, or not been finished or upgraded to an arcane tower. Town Hall now done. And with this, it should be noted that ghouls are still able to get in a couple of kill on these peasants, further delaying the economic turnaround for CrunCher. Down to the south side here, Criplord making his way slow trip back. You can see KraV's army has been consistently smaller as he's only been cranking out these ghouls. And now with the Death Knight out on the battlefield and the Criplord, we may actually see some hero level ups. Looking at that, Footman down to 245 hit points, he'll be able to easily get away as the Sea Turtle creep camps will be finished off here. All right, Skeletal Minions should really be going after the giant Sea Turtle. Let the Crypt Fiend deal with that heavy armor to maximize your time as the Archmage picks up a Tome of Intelligence and getting to level 4. Level 2 Brilliance Aura will help that Archmage stay on top of his mana, as we are looking at no tech to tier 2 still, either at CrunCher's main base or the expansion. So this is going to be a situation as the Archmage is heavily invested in Footmen, the Obsidian statues, the eventual Lich that is going to be making its way out. The Death Knight and the Crypt Lord should be able to easily deal with this just swarming army of Footmen. All right, units are trying to retreat back here. Is this going to be that big fight that CrunCher needs to perhaps gain a little bit of a lead? Who's going to get the experience? I believe, nope, Death Knight did get the experience there as the units are now trying to retreat back out. Units are all falling back here. And what is going down? Water Elemental being offered up. Obsidian statue down to 337 hit points as the Death Knight with that without Unholy Aura unable to get that army to walk around coolly. KraV losing a unit in a transit as that Crypt Fiend, was constantly following and then just ended up walking straight into the human army. Back down to the south, though, he is going to buy a little bit of time to do a bit more creeping. Crypt Lord is staying at 3. Death Knight will get to level 2, a Ring of Protection +4 as this creep camp gets cleared up, giving level 2 to the Death Knight. Lich already going to get trained. 1 Black Citadel, 2 additional towers as well. Archmage does not want to test the waters, but also he does not want to test against this the Crypt Lord's beetles here. Obsidian statues are coming across. There are some sentry wards, and we could be going into a fight here in just a moment. CrunCher has the larger army and the economic advantage, but currently really far behind in terms of tech, not even at tier 2 when we are looking at tier 3 tech getting underway. Obsidian statues could be just around the corner as the destroyers will be coming online, and they will be able to devour up those water elementals and clean up the footmen very, very quickly. Another thing to note is with this higher tier units, these Crypt Fiends, those Obsidian statues turning into destroyers, they will be able to clear out much more difficult creep camps as well. Lich already with that Orb of Corruption, which cannot be ignored, removing all of the armor from that Rock Golem, greatly reducing the amount of effective hit points it has as the creep camps and the damage is, racking up. Death Knight trying to clear things up. Scroll of the Beast, that could be a double-edged sword there. Try and pick that up, get in a little bit of additional damage. As that Scroll of the Beast is about to end, you just devour it off of your own units to get even more damage on those Obsidian statues as well. Tome of Agility looking like it will be picked up by that Crypt Lord, who also has a potion of mana. All right, army of footmen still trying to test the waters down to the south. Who are the best Night Elf players in the world? The top 3. Moon's got to be up there. Lalayette. Am I getting my names confused? Anyways, coming back around, gonna go ahead and try to clean things up here. We're gonna finish off some of these footmen. Footmen do have the Fen, but as I mentioned, as soon as the army gets this strong, those footmen are just not going to be long for this world. Death Knight now making its way across coming across from the south side here. Meanwhile, Archmage going to be swinging back around as the Force Troll High Priest, Force Troll Trapper Moon isn't the best night out before because he uses the 5th race. Well, he yes, yeah. All right. Coming back around, Water Elemental looking to. Yeah, he is the 5th race, but that name has just been around for so long. As the Destroyer now coming online here, Devour Magic actually missing the Water Elemental as the Obsidian Statue now trying to back away. That is a lot of mana to be lost as the Obsidian Statue wants to try and be repaired here, down to 54 hit points. Ghouls actually getting in the way here as this Obsidian Statue going to get taken down by a Water Elemental there. No chance to absorb the mana off of that as the Death Knight and the Crypt Lord now coming back around. Archmage is going to be able to go outrun here as that Unholy Aura. Why is the Death Knight not continuing to lead the charge as the Ghouls do have decent movement speed trying to catch up to that Archmage here? All right, a little bit of missed opportunities, slip-ups by KraV there, losing at that Obsidian Statue as a Stormbolt now goes down. All right, Destroyer could easily devour some magic here. Is going to finally land a Devour Magic. There you go. See that Devour Magic. See that a little bit of additional bonus damage getting added in and going to get finished off. All right. Clearing up the fountains of health over here on the 4 o'clock location. Quickly going after all of these relatively easy creep camps once your army is large enough. KraV sitting at 44 over 50 supply compared to 55 over 60. Death Knight now picking up True Shot Aura, still has the Scroll of the Beast, has not used it. And well, that is a True Shot Aura now given to the Lich for a little bit more bonus damage in from the back end of the army. All right. Now, Mountain King trying to do a little bit of creeping in. As I mentioned before, CrunCher's tech was a little bit behind. He is now at tier 3. He does have level 2 masonry upgrades already, and these towers are relatively close together, meaning they should be able to do quite a bit of damage to destroyers if they try to dive on in, but the splash damage from those destroyers will also work as well. Scroll of Town Portal used in time to try and, well, depart, as a couple of acolytes need to be trained and start repairing this haunted gold mine before it gets pressured again. Orb of Fire now only dealing plus 5 damage instead of that plus 7 damage, but significantly cheaper. Hero's attack also become range when attacking air. Effectiveness. Yeah, I don't know. If there was some active ability such as slowing the attack rate, not necessarily the movement speed, just the attack rate. I think I would like the Orb of Fire just a little bit better, as the Orb of Fire compared to the well, only makes sense if you can bait your opponent into trying to heal that unit as well, as opposed to actually being much more active. Stormbolt onto the Acolyte. Acolytes need to try and keep this haunted gold mine alive. There's a Scroll of Town Portal straight up on across these units. A big thunderclap across the ghouls. A Holy Light finishing one off, and the Paladin ends up surviving a split second before he was about to get taken down. You saw damage flash right before his eyes. He was about to fall, now back up to 100 hit points after that Scroll of Regeneration. All right, 2 flying machines still keeping overhead right here. 4-2-1 going up against 4-3, 2.5 right now, as the Archmage does have 1 Staff of Sanctuary so far. We'll see if he picks up additional Staff of Sanctuaries for his other units. No real reason to do it just quite yet, as CrunCher is, well, really playing human like it was back in 2008. There's a lot of towers over here at the expansion, and at the main base here. He can get level 3 masonry upgrade for an additional 50 hit points on those buildings, even though, well, those towers are significantly weaker than their 2008 counterpart. Coming back down to the south side here, we are looking at 2 Nerubian towers trying to protect this expansion, but we still haven't seen the tier 3 units that I was expecting to see from CrunCher. There's some sorceresses, there's the knights now, 2-1 upgrades, and CrunCher is really trying to win this game on the back of the economic advantage. However, he still will have to overcome the hero level advantage and currently the army tech advantage that KraV has. We still are looking at a large number of footmen in this army of CrunCher before the army will transition into flying machines and knights. Coming back across here, Paladin or Death Knight sitting at level 3. Lich is already at level 3 as well. So Death Coil, Frost Nova, and Impale, 3 powerful abilities that can greatly change the outcome of the game. Already well leveled up nicely. Pretty much every single creep camp on the map has been cleared. Are we going to see the water elemental get taken down? Yes, we are. It gets taken down there. No level up for the Death Knight, though, who would have enjoyed a bit more, well, movement speed on that Death Knight. If Moon loses, this is a throw. Oh, sorry. That is not Moon. Sorry. That is CrunCher, not Moon. I was like, why did they think it's Moon? Because I labeled it Moon. Like, oh, my bad. Coming back down to the south side here. I don't know. To say that it is a throw if CrunCher loses this game, we've seen in the past humans in this situation pretty much exactly. Having the stronger economic advantage now, trying to play a little bit of catch-up. And now we can see CrunCher is purposely clearing off these footmen, knowing that they are just an experience liability, allowing KraV to get to level 5 on any of his undead heroes would be very damaging. You can see that there is also a second Staff of Sanctuary on that Mountain King due to the reduced cost, but we also know because of the longer cooldown on the Staff of Sanctuary, it's almost necessary. And then in addition to that, it still takes up an item slot on one of the 3 heroes, and its ability is often just on a cooldown. And you never seem to have a charge ready when you really need it in terms of these fights. Now, we are looking at Spellbreakers, Mortar Teams, no upgrades on them. 3-2 upgrades, however, on the Spellbreakers and those Knights, Flying Machines sharing that armor upgrade. And now the Death Knight also has this anti-magic shell. Looking at this, are we going to see enough priests out here on the battlefield to dispel the magic on the Death Knight and perhaps some of these Crypt Fiends for Thunderclap to become effective again now that there are Banshees on the battlefield? All things to consider, as KraV does have a handful of Banshees ready to go and now trying to get mastery training for possession. CrunCher using that economic advantage to try and take this high ground, this hill, King of the Hill, unconcealed hill, hoping to hold on to this position. He is looking at high upkick, so he's only getting about 8 gold a second compared to his opponent's 14 gold a second right now. But he is going to be establishing up this 3rd and final base. If you pass the staff, does the cooldown of the staff also passes? Passing the staff no longer resets the cooldown. That was something that Blizzard addressed many years ago. All right, gonna go ahead and go into the engagement now. Gonna try and fight here. Here we are. There's some Dispel Magic trying to, well, clear things up, and now Possession being brought over. Gonna go ahead and take those Knights. All right, Staff of Sanctuary should have been used to try and stop those possessions as we see a large Impale go down here. Meanwhile, Mortar Teams are in the back effectively dishing out that damage. 84 supply compared to 90 as we're looking at, Mortar Teams continuing to be able to impale much more heavily than I thought. Meanwhile, the Lich could have gone after these priests here, but I believe Scrolls of Healing have been used to try and counteract those 2 impales that were, well, so successfully laid down. All right, Crypt Lord still absorbing quite a bit of damage, but there's a lot of towers here, and that Crypt Lord does not have that passive additional armor, as we see a Thunderclap now go down as well. Fragmentation Shards are going to be very effective against the Banshees, as we're looking at 92 supply from KraV compared to 86 now from CrunCher, as both sides are still fighting their way through. Death of an Abomination should be imminent here, as we're looking at CrunCher, the Staff of Sanctuary and some units still, and able to save KraV with a very low hit point. Abomination still in the back, not getting any damage here, as we're seeing damage just constantly lobbed. More Knights coming in from the rear. Disease Cloud trying to spread across multiple units. Still 92 supply compared to CrunCher's 80, as both sides are still fighting their way through. All right, units are retreating back. Mortar teams, however, able to keep their distance, and both sides suffering some tremendous losses. CrunCher now staying at 80 supply. Meanwhile, KraV benefiting, heading over to this Fountain of Health in order to heal up. And, well, that is going to be a difference there. Disease Cloud on the human army. Meanwhile, Fountain of Health, a nice spa day for the undead army. And we could be looking at a big hit point shift here in just a moment. All right, KraV sitting at 96 supply. Main gold mines have been mined out as well. KraV does not have. KraV also stuck in high upkeep, only getting 4 gold a second. As well, things are getting underway, and now KraV is perhaps transitioning into necromancers. That sudden tech shift, but he is not researching adept or mastery or even adept training on these necromancers as of yet. All right, Acolyte's going to get cleaned up here, going to try and bait away some of these units. What is going down? 0-0 upgrades compared to, for those abominations, compared to 3-2 upgrades on those knights, as the Acolytes try to purposely dive themselves into guard towers to prevent any experience gain. All right. Mortar teams continuing to shell out that damage. Meat wagons are in the back, and here we are. Are we going to see some frenzy? The Necromancer should not be in the front. They are going to be suffering far too much damage if that is the case here, as the meat wagons should be lobbing up some damage here. So far, still no upgrades on those Temples of the Damned. Not quite sure what is going on with those Necromancers. Perhaps just trying to access Cripple, and now CrunCher going after buildings instead of trying to take down the main this main expansion here in that tight, narrow corridor. All right, more damage still getting racked up here. Level 4, level 4, level 3 compared to a level 4, level 2, level 2. That next bit of experience for CrunCher is huge, opening up level 3 on that Mountain King and then getting perhaps eventual level 3 on that Paladin. Both sides fighting their way through again. All right, we are looking at, well, a big animate dead coming back around. Is that just going to turn into a Dispel Magic and trying to get that level up here, as Banshees are going to get cleaned up here. Staff of Sanctuary continuing to save. We're seeing a lot of lobbing of damage, and those mortar teams are just unchallenged in the back. The Lich is not hitting them with that Frost Nova damage, as the Crippler now gets up to level 5. Archmage being forced to retreat back. There goes some more kills as well, as we're looking at level 3 Mountain King able to escape in time. Spellbreaker making its way over. Is that going to be an easy kill? Knights now going to get cleaned up here. All right, is it going to get impaled? 1 or 2 more bits of damage. No impale, nothing like that at all, as those Knights were able to join in on the fight again. All right, mortar teams going after those units. Good destroyers need to be careful of those guard towers. That knight is right there, getting offered up pretty easily. That's going to get taken down, as the Death Knight looks to get closer to level 5. This skeletal mage army and cleaning things up pretty quickly here. All of that range piercing damage should be able to finish off all these guard towers, and these guard towers are now a bit of a liability, as it's giving experience to the Death Knight, Lich, and also that Crypt Lord. Coming back around here, we're looking at Skeletal Warriors keeping track of things, and we're going to be going into an engagement now. Necromancers, all right, the lines are pretty much all over the place for KraV. KraV needs to, well, reposition these meat wagons if he hopes to win out here, as the mortar teams completely flatten out all of the Necromancers. There goes an Impale, though, and are we going to see a follow-up Frost Nova? One mortar team now getting taken down. More units getting taken down here. Knights trying to retreat back. Another Impale could be, well, in store here. There goes another Impale. More damage going to get racked up here. There's a Staff of Sanctuary for a save, but the Priest not nearly as lucky, as damage is still racking up. More damage could still be coming across here. Knights turning back around, as we see, well, KraV going after the buildings still again. All right, 75 supply compared to 77. Perhaps trying to take down all of these tech buildings, and then perhaps some of these buildings here would end up supply blocking his opponent. All right, Knight's going to try and engage here. Obsidian statues completely out of mana, and that is the problem for KraV. Without mana on those obsidian statues, you can see that, well, mana just doesn't stick to these undead heroes as they normally do. All right, trying to save some of these Crypt Fiends and Abominations, and they are, in fact, able to stay alive. Scroll of Town portal back home. Now, perhaps another trip to the fountain here, and KraV actually losing control of his units, losing the positioning, and those mortar teams really tearing into many of those necromancers. All right, KraV currently sitting at high upkeep, not a place he wants to be right now. And KraV might let this game get away from him if he is not careful. Taking out one necromancer, or well, stopping production could be key here. There's some dark rituals on that Lich trying to get back out to maximum mana. All right, Town Hall now trying to upgrade to tier 2. We can see triple staff of sanctuaries on the Mountain King and that Paladin, and a great call by CrunCher to upgrade this Town Hall to keep in order to, well, keep well, these knights and anything that are staff of sanctuary closer to the battle. But then that does also mean that, well, if we are getting attacked from this side, KraV may actually have easier access to those units. All right, that low hit point ghoul could just be offered up here. Mortar teams trying to launch some attacks here. You can see that Lich with that, well, frenzy, racking up a lot of damage here, could try and deal more damage to that Archmage. All right, gonna go ahead and try and attack back and forth, exchanging blows as well. What is going to go down here? Just simply attacking the ground across all of those buildings could work out well, as a water elemental now trying to make its way forward. Mortar teams, well, Meat Wagon's going to be benefiting a little bit from, yeah, there is that ground attack right there to try and take down those buildings. And here we are going into an engagement now. Stormbolt straight up onto the Cryptlord. Cryptlord could be losing a little bit of mana. Spellbreakers are right there. Are we going to see an Impale? No, it takes another Stormbolt. There is a massive army of skeletal minions. There's the Impale now with all of the skeletal mages all in position. They're going to be able to rack up a lot of damage. Staff of Sanctuary, well, teleports it to right that position. That would have happened anyways, as that is the closer Town Hall for now. Cryptlord down to 145 hit points. Is he going to get a Death Coil? No, he gets a Holy Light instead, as the Knight does not have enough mana. 76 supply compared to 59 CrunCher with a much smaller army right now, but KraV, without one of his main heroes, could be in trouble as the Destroyer gets taken down by guard towers. Both sides fighting every which way. Mountain King trying to stay alive. There is a massive army of skeletal mages and skeletal minions as the Mountain King could get taken down. He gets Staff of Sanctuary off to the north, and he gets killed anyways. Death Knight still fighting their way through. Death Knight now going after the Archmage. Archmage trying to run around in a corner and use the Potion of Lesser Invulnerability as the Skeletal Mage army is starting to disappear. CrunCher's army now looking stronger and stronger, as, well, timed life does make a big difference here. Death Knight still continuing to push across here. We're looking at more damage getting leaded out here, as 45 supply compared to 52. CrunCher still sitting in low upkeep, as Crypt Fiends are trying to finish off some of those mortar teams as well, and now trying to retreat back. Lich sitting at level 5, Death Knight sitting at level 5. No more mana on either of these heroes. Potion of Lesser Invulnerability, Frost Nova onto the Archmage. Archmage still somehow survives that big Frost Nova as the units are retreating back. Stormbolt and Holy Light gonna finish off the Death Knight, but it was finished off by a Crypt Fiend deny. That is going to deny a level 4 to that Paladin as they are trying to retreat back. Meatwagon needs to get back on the Blight here. Lich needs to find a way to survive. Cryptlord getting resurrected, and what a big turnaround there. CrunCher able to outlast that battle there. Those priests with mastery training had enough mana to try and start dispelling all of that massive summoned army. Death Knight resurrected back at the tavern here, and we're going to be looking at the Lich perhaps trying to figure out a way out of this rather tight, uncomfortable spot. Lich, what is he doing? Trying to finish off some of these water elementals. The Meat Wagon needs to retreat back. He needs to get under the cover of all of these towers. The water elementals were just dishing out way too much damage, as the Crypt Lord was resurrected at the tavern as well. All right, Cryptlord resurrected at tavern. Death Knight, Unholy Aura. Cryptlord now trying to retreat back out, and now without obsidian statues, what can KraV hope to do? 5 minutes of mining left. New obsidian statue trying to get trained up. I was questioning if he needed obsidian statues or meat wagons in this scenario, as both sides are now back into no upkeep land. It is one base play to one base play. All of CrunCher's workers right there, perhaps suffering a lot of disease cloud, taking quite a bit of damage. Water Elemental getting offered up here and now giving a bit of hit points to that Destroyer. KraV pretty much saying thank you very much for the little bit of experience and health on my Destroyer. That's exactly what I needed, as the Death Knight benefiting from, well, standing on Blight. That regeneration, Blight, coupled with Unholy Aura and a natural regeneration for strength-based heroes, are rather high. Obsidian statue. Note, now a meat wagon getting transferred back over. 44 supply compared to 50. Remember, still a hero level advantage for the undead. You cannot count them out, as this base of CrunCher could get pressured here in just a moment. All right, Destroyer. Both sides trying to fight their way through. Here we are going into an engagement, going straight after all of those units, taking down easy peasants. There goes a handful of peasants right there. Banshees need to get away from the guard towers and arcane tower, as we're looking at it, a flying machine getting destroyed now. Banshee in trouble, down to 74 hit points. It may get taken down. Yeah, arcane tower doing the job there, but a handful of peasants were lost, as the Death Knight is now getting closer to level 6 as well. All right, still anyone's game to be had. Meatwagon looking to retreat back. New round of Necromancers getting trained up. A new Meatwagon as well. So this Meatwagon collecting all of these corpses off over here by this graveyard. And this pop-up army of KraV may come at just the right time. On the flip side, CrunCher does have an invisible Mountain King with level 2 Thunderclap. And, well, you better believe a slow clap will be in order. A surprise move, definitely, as at this stage in the game, KraV could start unsummoning this Ziggurat and this Necropolis to get every bit of gold out of his buildings that he can, and then try and break into, well, low upkeep right now. All right. That seems to be the case. Is he picking up some items on his heroes as well? No additional items on his hero. That Lich, however, with that Claws of Attack plus 12 and True Shot Aura up to plus 22 damage. A very hard-hitting and scary Lich, dealing north of 60 damage per attack while removing much of your armor that keeps you alive. All right, the towers off to the north here. Meat wagons, everything is in store. KraV trying to crank out as much as it possibly can, getting in another Destroyer. Not quite sure if I agree with that, unless that Obsidian statue was completely out of mana, doesn't need it. Also should be turning off Fountain of Mana, as it gives mana to the Destroyers, who then just immediately lose it, and, well, causes a bit of issues. All right, CrunCher going into low upkeep as well. We're going to be going into a fight in the center portion of the map. 52 supply compared to 61. KraV also does... Oh, there's invisibility on that Mountain King. No random Devour magic on the Mountain King or anywhere right there. Oh, nope. You saw the random Devour magic trying to find where that Mountain King could possibly be, as Disease Cloud to get spread around. All right. Trying to launch attacks, getting into position. Flying Machine's going to engage. There's some webs bringing down those Flying Machines. 61 supply compared to 53, as the Skeletal Mages in the back are trying to make their way through. Death Knight now in the front part here also has anti-magic shell, as we're looking at more Dispel Magic, giving experience to the human army. Level 4 now on that Paladin, who has level 2 Divine Shield, now trying to lead the charge here with that invulnerability, as the Mountain King, well, invisibility has been broken. And notice this, the Mountain King and the heroes actually have inner fire. So the dual Destroyers are going to be key in trying to stop that, as the Destroyers now trying to clean up the Water Elementals. Flying Machines now making their way over. A 4-squadron Flying Machine looking to shoot down these Destroyers. Destroyers, however, currently staying alive, but the Crippler not so lucky. The Death Coil is not going to be coming in time at all, as the Orb of Fire really slowing down the healing on that Obsidian statue. All right, more damage coming across. 45 supply compared to 59. The Obsidian statues well, excuse me, all of the necromancers pretty much out of mana now, not going to be able to summon that additional extra minions as the Mountain King gets in another Thunderclap again. Destroyers trying to, well, retreat back just a little bit, perhaps going to take down these fine machines as we see Animate Dead now being brought. I thought I saw an Animate Dead, yes. So Animate Dead now being brought to the party as well. 1-2 upgrades, bringing in additional damage once more. All right, there goes my light. Both sides still fighting their way through as we're, well, continuing to attack again. Archmage trying to hold off this attack again as the Mountain King going to try and escape away down to 135 hit points. Staff of Sanctuary puts him into harm's way as now he cannot move and he's going to get taken down, giving level 6 to the Lich. Level 6 Lich now. Are we going to see level 2 Dark Ritual or are we going to see Death and Decay as the Animate Dead actually turning the tide in this battle, but is about to come to an end and goes kaput. Now both sides fighting their way through. Lich still hasn't used that last ability yet. Death Knight still trying to retreat back here as we're looking at perhaps more webs need to be brought on down to try and bring down these flying machines. CrunCher now down to 36 supply. Paladin now using another Divine Shield, about to get taken out as the Archmage has level 3 Brilliance Aura, but now being forced to retreat back once more. CrunCher about to lose this expansion as the main gold mine of KraV has also been, and the expansions have all been cleared out as well. Flying machines getting shot down here, peasants getting destroyed, and this is giving more experience to the Lich and that Death Knight as well. But I don't believe we will be getting to level 7 on either of these either. All right, Destroyer now looking to retreat back. 49 supply compared to 33. 3 heroes compared to 2 as the Paladin is right there gonna shoot down the Obsidian statue who, well, was not in the control group to try and retreat back. Well, there goes another quick Crypt Fiend death. Are we going to be looking at some damage, trying to disrupt some of those clarity potions perhaps, and trying to, well, stop things there? There's another, I believe that was another Dark Ritual to get in a bit more mana on that Lich. Archmage. Well, once the Paladin, and if the Paladin and the Mountain King can somehow inch out and get to level 5 on each of their heroes, that could greatly change the overall outcome. Level 2 Dark Ritual on the Lich instead of Death and Decay, that might be the right call at this time, as that Lich does need mana, and getting more mana per Dark Ritual could be exactly what that Lich needs. All right, trying to summon up more. If he can get back up to 400, even 500 mana, that would be quite the amount. Oh, there's a Skeletal Warrior right there. What are you doing? Before it goes into time life, Dark Ritual. Come on, KraV. No, you're just gonna let it poof. All right. He doesn't see it. Acolytes, no more mining, could unsummon, waiting for the Crypt Lord to get back into the fight here. Death Knight, no items. Crypt Lord, no items. Lich, 3 powerful items. Now waiting to get a little bit more mana going, as well as the meat wagons are both full again. All right, that is a scary proposition. Mountain King coming across right there. We're going to see a Frost Nova. No, Mountain King does have a potion of lesser invulnerability and is also invisible. Hence the reason why it was not spotted. All right, 51 supply over 70. Unsummoning up a couple of the Ziggurats could buy some scrolls of healing for the army, and that might be exactly what is needed. Potions of healing, potions of mana, all of these last bit consumables as we're reaching the 40-minute mark of this game. Somehow CrunCher is still able to mine freely at this center expansion after all this time, but KraV is getting another resource right now. Consumable items and mana on these necromancers in order to get that pop-up army. Now, a quick thing to note, do not let destroyers stay close to your obsidian statue while you are not actively fighting. They are just going to absorb mana from those obsidian statues, or use up mana from those obsidian statues without really providing anything at all. Destroyers now need to retreat back here, trying to get a Frost Nova down across all of those peasants. Going to work out well. All right, there's a pop-up army indeed, as the meat wagon quickly gets cleaned up by dual invisible water elementals there. That is going to be a lot of corpses that were lost overall, as we're still looking at a big fight. Death Knight does have animate dead, but I don't believe there's enough actually dead bodies out here on the battlefield to use. There goes an Impale. Mountain King could be in trouble. Does have a potion of lesser invulnerability. Both sides still fighting underway as the Crypt Lord gets up to level 6. Level 6 on that Crypt Lord. Are we perhaps going to be looking at the armor upgrade to try and keep that Crypt Lord alive? He does have that Orb of Fire debuff on him, making heals that much slower and ineffective. Death Coil onto the Mountain King. Mountain King uses a potion of invulnerability just a split second late, I believe, as damage still racking up. Flying Machines have cleaned up all of the destroyers. 31 supply compared to 33. Both sides still fighting their way through as the Lich getting cleaned up by a Holy Light right there. Level 7 Lich has fallen, but the Paladin has fallen as well. Mountain King is sitting at level 5, should be able to buy a potion of mana from that Arcane Vault and perhaps still rack up quite a bit of damage. Meanwhile, the Obsidian statues have run out of mana as we're looking at the damage, trying to finish off onto the Arcane Tower here. 28 supply compared to 26. Both sides fighting their way through. A lot of Necromancers and a lot of Skeletal Mages still available here. I don't see any Priest. And, well, the Flying Machines are not going to be able to offer up any real additional help. Mountain King now trying to make its way over. Destroyer there, able to devour up a bit of mana. However, Death Knight able to survive barely as it's able to level up as well. Death Knight using Death Pack against some of these other units. Got a Death Coil off on the Crypt Lord as the Water Elementals now getting cleaned up. Destroyer now still trying to stay alive here. Paladin going after the Death Knight. Death Knight now trying to retreat all the way into the back here, down to dead as it gets hit by a Storm Bolt and Holy Light. Level 7 Death Knight now fallen. Crypt Lord still trying to fight its way through. Does not have the ultimate ability as we are looking at both sides still fighting underway. Sorceresses are now getting cleaned up as well. And what is going on here? So many Skeletal Mages and Skeletal Minions continuing this battle as unit after unit is falling. 15 supply compared to 26. Crypt Lord looking to finish off some of these additional units. Lesser invulnerabilities are coming to an end, and the summons of CrunCher look like they're going to be able to outlast as the Crypt Lord now looking to retreat back. So many Flying Machines in the air, but KraV has ended up losing the game, gives it up, throws in the towel. All right, Necromancers late game trying to prop things up and carry, but the heroes unable to stay alive long enough. At one point, all of the heroes had a large number of items, but you can see CrunCher was forced to sell the Staves of Sanctuary as they were no longer being that useful, actually exposing heroes as well. Let's take a look at the final scores and let me know what you guys thought about this epic undead versus human matchup. This game perhaps a good indicator, or this game I do not believe would have gone down the same way if it was in patch 1.34. Let me know what you guys thought in the comments below.